Here we are at Carlsbad Caverns, and came here in an afternoon to watch the bat flight, and we'll tour the cave in the morning.
Hello, welcome to Rollin' Ragu. I'm Ethan. I'm Owen, and today we're going to Carlsbad Caverns. Today it's only going to be us two, so I hope you guys like us better than our parents. Please comment down below if you do. Yeah, give us more likes, thumbs up. So our first day at Carlsbad, we went to the bat show at night. At first, there were a couple bats coming out here and there, but later the more bats came out. Yeah, there were thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of bats upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of bats. And at the end, when they were all coming out, it was like a tornado of bats. What time was it, like 9, 10 when they came out like that? Yeah.
So I'm walking down to the amphitheater right now, and Cindy and the boys are already down there. And I got to tell you a story about the campground. In fact, tomorrow morning I'll get out with the camera for a minute and show you this place. So I'm really excited. This is looks better than I expected, and it's cheap too. Some of the other caves we went to have been expensive. Well, relative. I mean, it was $30 a head, I think, at Jewel Cave and Wind Cave up in South Dakota. And this one is the annual pass gets you into the big room, and our kids are half price for the guided tour in the King's Palace. So you know, we can do both for not too much money. And we wanted to walk in the natural entry, but she suggested that, she said many people have knee and hip trouble with the natural entry. So she suggested do the big room, do the guided tour in the King's Palace, and then if you still want more, go down the natural entry. So I think that's how we'll play it. We'll do those other two. It'll be nice to spend a day in 56-degree temperatures. Might just walk circles in the big room for a while. You can see from my skin, we've been out in the sun a lot.
So the first day we were at the Carlsbad, there was a search party out there. So it was a father and a son, and they didn't have much water, and they went hiking. We've heard that they didn't make it back. Now that just tells you something, to be prepared. Otherwise it can have some tough consequences. We pray for that father and son and their family, and yeah.
On to the bat tour. I can't, no cameras allowed, no phones, no anything. So I can't take you with us. So if you want to see the bat tour, come out to Carlsbad.
The people we were camping next to just happened to be our friends from Guadalupe National Park. It's pretty nice to have friends you already know from another park, because then, you know, you get to talk to them. Because there's people you know. Yeah, it's people you know.
What's your idea of a bad campground or a bad campsite? Well, we found our idea of one here at our stay in Carlsbad Caverns. We are packing up to go this morning. We would have stayed a second night, but this place is terrible. Well, first of all, just the heat in this area during the summer was already has us in a particular kind of mood. But I wanted to point out some things that make up a poor campsite for us. Our site, you can see, all utilities are on the door side of the camper. And so we have hoses running under the camper, electric head to run under the camper. Plant life. These are the little sticky bushes that haven't been cut or weeded or anything. And so we're getting stickers everywhere we go.
There's dog crap and beer bottle caps all over our site.
Yeah, and beer bottles, beer bottle caps, dog mess everywhere. And look at this. The sewage is right here where you would have to where we walk through every day. So if somebody had a spill here, we walk right through this area to get to the door of the camper. Next, when we arrived, this fella had his awning out. Well, you can also see all what you get with full long term. His awning was within an inch or two of our slide out, and I hope that Cindy, I'm pretty sure she did, get a picture of that, so I'll put that up. And we have this telephone pole here. So I had to position the door in such a way that we could still use our door, but I couldn't get any closer because of the neighbor's awning.
They charge the money, $40, like a KOA, but it's certainly not a KOA.
No, it's not.
In any way.
It sure is not. Also, the main road here is right behind us. And that's the entry to Carlsbad. Right down the road right here. If you come into Carlsbad, you don't have much of an option. This is probably what you're going to end up doing. Just be aware. This is the campground at Carlsbad Caverns. This is what you get. Here we are backed up. We had to move the trailer out into the street to try to dump our sewage. Trailer's at an angle. I couldn't get the angle I needed, so it's draining super slow. In fact, I'm going to stop before I dump completely, just ready to get the heck out of here. The plan is to get, hey babe, see that bird up there? Is that what flew down for the bats? It was shaped like that. That's a big dove. Oh, geez. Planning to get to Carlsbad for 8 o'clock.
So the second day at Carlsbad, we were going to take the tour of the cave. Our friends at Carlsbad also had tickets at the same time, so we did the trip together. When we went to the cave, we waited in the visitor center for a bit.
We got here on time this morning, which is unusual for us so far on this trip.
We went down in elevators to get into the cavern.
2 adults, 2 kids.
Keep your hands to yourself. The oil, acid, salt, dirt from your hands can stain the rocks, polish them, discolor them, even stop them from forming with a single touch. We do have our sacrificial formation here. If you must touch a rock today, touch it here. Don't touch them down inside the cave. Again, that down arrow next to the C for cavern, St. John.
There's a small little lobby down below with like vending machines, merchandise, things like that. So, the caves. So there were many rock formations. One was a giant pillar, one was a hole that you couldn't see the bottom of. A couple were stalactites and stalagmites. Yeah. And there were a bunch of like crystals and gems and stuff.
We are about to go on the King's Palace tour. He gave a last call for restroom. It's about an hour-and-a-half tour. And it is 56 degrees down here, but it could be colder, to tell you the truth, and I'd be fine.
So there were two parts to the tour that we had. There was the first tour, which was a guided tour, and a second part, which was a non-guided tour. You could just go wherever you wanted in the cave. Well, not wherever you wanted, but you could take it at your own pace. Yeah. And at one part of the self-guided tour, my dad and my friend's parent got together and talked about teacher stuff. Yeah. For 3 hours.
I do remember that.
And you did talk for 3 hours. Our tour guide was pretty cool. He was good at explaining about the stalagmites, stalactites, and all the other stuff.
Who thinks you traveled the farthest to be here today? And that's in terms of miles and kilometers. Who thinks they traveled the farthest? You seem pretty... Cleveland, all right. We already got the big Cleve here. Cleveland, Ohio. So that's pretty good. Some other hands are now more confident. Where are you from?
Greenville, South Carolina.
South Carolina, so now we got the East Coast representing here. But when people ask me what my advice is to becoming a park ranger, I say study hard, be willing to move anywhere, and get a degree in sculpture and ceramics. So, a little bit of a different path that I took to be here today, but I want to make my case too, because when I see a place like the King's Palace, what I see is a sculpture gallery. I see an exhibition in stone that tells the story of the earth the way only a cave can. This reef is believed to have existed in the age of the Permian era, which ended in the most catastrophic fashion imaginable. Literally the worst extinction event on the planet.
There are these two stalagmites and stalactites that looked like they were touching, so they were kind of called a couple. I don't really remember the name of it. But then they decided to check if they really were touching. So they got a guy to slip his credit card through, and it made it. So it turns out the two were, well, they were declared still a couple, but they were always apart, because that's as far as they'll go, because, I don't know, scientific reasons. Yeah, see?
If I've done my job at all, you know the difference between a stalagmite, we have a pretty good one here, and then a stalactite, so they hang from the ceiling. So this is kind of a drapery / stalactite. So we got two formations, or do we? Because if that's touching there, it's what? A column. Right, yeah. So that'd be a column. Well, this set here was listed on all the maps as the Eternal Kiss. And so that's what it was called for a long time. But to say that they're kissing implies what? That they're touching. So when people would ask, is that a column or two different formations? There'd be a gray area, and then you'd be inclined to say that it's a column. Well, we wanted to find out for sure. So what happened was a ranger got a ladder and actually went up there, and he was just able to pass his driver's license between them. So not only think of the divine cruelty of these formations, how long it took to get to this point and only be about a millimeter apart and never touch, but also we had to stop calling it Eternal Kiss because that implies they're touching. We don't want to be inaccurate. So now this set is known as the Frustrated Lovers.
There was one part of the cave where he completely turned off the lights, so you couldn't see anything. And he said if you waved your hand in front of your face like this, you could see an illusion of your hand, but not actually your hand because it was so dark.
Bob Ross.
am proud
And proud
to be
a
a National Park Service
National Park Service
Junior Ranger.
Junior Ranger.
I promise to preserve
Preserve
the natural
the natural
and cultural resources. And what are there? 21 now? Congratulations.
I'm not with them though.
I have picked up a new identity. My new name is Bob.
Got it.
Had a wonderful time at Carlsbad, much better than I expected. Been to many caves. Carlsbad was easily 10 times the experience of any of the others. I'm glad we did it.
Thanks for joining in. That didn't really work because I was looking at you and then you just started and I'm like, oh. Thanks for joining in. So everyone, get ready to put on your tinfoil hats because we're going to Roswell, New Mexico. Aliens. They exist. Okay, that's it. Hello, welcome to Rollin' Ragu. I
wasn't ready.
Hello, welcome to Rollin'
I
Ragu.
wasn't ready. You're gonna have to wait until I'm ready.
Are you ready now?
Yes.
Hello. Hello, welcome to Rolling Ragu. I'm Owen. And I'm Ethan. That was too spacey. Hello, welcome to Rolling Ragu. I'm Owen.
And I'm Ethan.
And we're going... Maybe you should do it.